Greetings. My name is Bill Wheeler. I'm running for District 1. It's time we tell people in City Hall and our mayor enough is enough. We demand respect. We demand lower taxes. We demand government accountability. We're done with it. We're done with people sleeping in the streets. We're done with the crime. We're done with the rampant fraud, the overspending. We want respect. Vote for me and get back that respect. I am the only candidate. I'm the only candidate, hands down, that is demanding that they lower our taxes, we get lower utility bills. They forecasted all this back in 2019 when they raised all of our taxes like crazy. What did they tell us? This is going to cover us for the foreseeable future. And what did they do? Every chance they get, they lie, they increase it every single time. They have lied to us and they have increased our taxes. They have gone up 100 something percent. And here we are sitting in a deficit because they don't know how to stop spending. I don't even think it's really spending. This has fraud, waste, and abuse written all over it. And it's about time we had accountability. And the only way you will get that accountability is if you vote for me, hands down. No other candidate is going to fight for you. No other candidate is going to fight for the fact that we need to have accountability. No other candidate is fighting on the grounds that there's rampant fraud. No other candidate is fighting that we need to have the officers actually arrest people. There is nobody else saying this stuff. I am the only candidate right now actually saying that the law needs to be enforced because I'm the only one actually sitting here and calling these people out. So, out of all the candidates and all the districts, there is not anybody that is getting on camera and being brazen and bold and actually saying to the people, vote for me because this is what's going to happen. And I'm telling you what's going to happen. If you don't vote for me, it is going to be the same thing over and over again, but it will be worse. It'll be worse because the city has a lot planned for you, Everett. This current this current election is very important because they are voting on some issues and trying to pass some things right now that are completely bonkers, and they are on the mend, determined by who wins this election. And this district is in deep trouble, people. If our base does not mobilize and fight this tyranny at the core, which is that is exactly what it is. This is an attack on families of all races, religions, colors, and creeds. This is an absolute attack. It doesn't matter if you're straight, it doesn't matter if you're gay or bi or whatever side of the fence you swing on. It ain't even about all that. It ain't even, this is good versus evil. This is David versus Goliath. This is big media versus the little guy. And it's been like that for many years. I've been fighting this for a long time. Since 2010, when my dad went missing, I've been fighting this beast left and right. I've given everything for it. I've done time for it. I've given it my all. And this is me asking you that you go out there and you vote. Because people like me that are sticking up for your rights need your help when we ask. And this is that time. Because this election right now is going to determine who is on the ballot in November's election. And it's going to go down to two people. And that's when things are going to get very heated. And I've already had complaints about issues with ballots. So we have to go out there, we have to make our voices heard, and we have to vote to override the system. If you're my base and you're following this, this is going to be the moment. This is where you have to override the frauds. You have to override the suspicions. You have to make it very clear that your voice is heard and you want this and you want this now. And you know, you can completely hate my guts, but I'm telling you, you got to look this up. There's nothing made up about this because this is you can't hide the truth. You can't hide the truth. No matter how much you may dislike somebody, you can't hide the truth. And I'm hands down the only candidate fighting to lower your taxes because our taxes have gone up like crazy. It's insane. There is no accountability. I'm the only candidate asking for actual accountability. I want audits. I want to physically go to these sites. I want to see where our money's going. I have experience. I want to see the books. I want to chase the cash. It's going somewhere. We have a lot of special interest right now tied up on our city council. We need to break that chain. I want to investigate it. I want to expose the fraud. And if people on the council have committed fraud against their fellow constituents, they need to be held accountable. I want accountability. I want to see people committing crimes get treated for them being criminals. The two-tier justice system has to end. It has to. Because if you don't have law and order, if you don't have respect of the system, if you don't have some kind of structure that is actually revered and governed and people look for it and they actually have trust and faith in it, then you have nothing. And this city is on the cusp of completely losing that respect and control. And I truly believe that this city can be great again. It can move in the right direction, but you have to have the right people. And there I threw my hat in the ring because I looked at everybody that said that they were running, months before you could even actually declare your candidacy. And that's when I decided to throw my hat in the ring. And for example, in the voters pamphlet, you have Rutledge claiming I declared my candidacy first, and I did that because I love this city. Bullshit, bullshit. Because it's funny how the Everett Herald will go out of their way and show you and campaign for somebody, showing that and endorsing them months before you can even register. Okay, I've been talking about running for candidacy 4 years ago. So don't tell me that you're the first one to announce your candidacy. I've been screaming from the mountaintops. I've ran for positions before. And I've said numerous of times, documented, that I was going to run for office. So don't sit here and give me that song and dance because that's not going to happen. So, and maybe that's an oversight on his behalf. Maybe he's not tech savvy and goes online. But you know what? The Everett Herald can completely piss off. They want to write these fluff pieces and bash on me. That's okay because I'm over the target. And I know enough about the Everett Herald. They'll write bad things about me, but they're not going to actually tell you the truth. Like I said, open forum. You ask me questions, you shoot me an email. It's publicly known. I will respond, and I'll make a video about it. I mean, hell, you want us to talk? We'll have a discussion about it. But don't tell me it's rain and you're pissing on me. I'm not buying it. So you know, it's just we're going up against a big system here, and it's not pretty. It's very brutal. It's not easy. The hate mail. But I do have a lot of people that call who tell me that they will vote for me and they hope I win, and they believe the sincerity, and they watch these videos and they listen to what I have to say, and then you got people who are like, oh yeah, you say you're doctor, only doctors can be, or oh, are you a medical doctor? Well, no, there's all sorts of doctors. There's scholarly doctors. There's doctors for every single thing you can. There's like 100 different doctors out there. But yeah, I put doctor on my profile, on my Facebook and in my signature title because I went to school and I earned it. It's that simple. Um, I'm not a, I don't even go by it when I introduce myself. And shoot, half my friends probably don't even know that I even have one because I just don't mention it. Because to me, it was a personal decision. It wasn't something I'm imposing on other people. I'm not a narcissist. I don't make people go around and address me a certain way. But um, maybe there's something to it. If somebody's going to mock me like that, I'd probably be like, well, put a doctor in front of it just to be a jerk. But that's not me. So I don't know. We got a lot of decisions to make. This is kind of a candid video. So I apologize. I'm already running over 10 minutes. I'm trying to make them short so people can say touch and see what I got to say. Thank you very much. Just remember, like this town, we're seriously under attack. There's a lot of things being pushed through. Please look them up, Google them, look them up, go to the city website. Everything that I'm saying can be completely validated. I could go on for days about the different kind of fraud. I can go on about all the construction that they say they make millions of dollars on. I could go on about a $2 million bathroom. I could go on about a $400,000 survey that should have been maybe $3,000 for a new firehouse location, or I could go on about how they're going to pay off members of certain families in this neighborhood for property that they've been paying off for years now, that dates all the way back to when they were in politics in the city. So if you want to get into that, or I could go on to how Snohomish County actually participates in human trafficking. I mean, we could talk about that. We can talk about the human trafficking going on here. I mean, that's important. People want to know about that. That's big, juicy gossip. I have firsthand knowledge inside baseball on how that whole process works right there. So, you want to expose some fraud. And I would love to be in a city council position, because I would probably be their worst nightmare, because I know all their dirty little secrets and I want to expose it all. I want to expose them all so bad. You have no idea how bad I want to expose all this. I guarantee people, if you vote for me to get on city council, I promise everybody that votes for me, it'll be the city council's worst nightmare. And if I am elected, they should be flipping out, because I am telling you right now, I want everybody held accountable. I want to know where the money's going. There should be a fraud investigation, because shit ain't adding up. And they're the ones sitting there steering this ship. And we have a lot of people that are invested in private groups, private interest groups, who do a lot in investments in land, and they have a lot to do with the homeless, and they got ties to medical, and then you got ties to public transportation, and they like to dibble dabble, and they like to get a little bit of money slid right here. And you know what? They've all gotten very greedy, and they've taken a lot of cash. I guarantee it. Because you know what? Inside baseball, I know how these people work. I know where to look for the money. I know where to find the fraud. I know where to go to find it. And you know what? Like, this is the kind of stuff that they fear. They don't want people in there that are actual integral, and they believe in a republic. I fought for this country for 8 years, and I got a bunch of idiots telling me that I need to be taxed and basically renting my property. Do I own it or not? It's that simple. And if I don't own this place, then I want a refund. We shouldn't be paying for buying something that we don't own. So there's a lot of fraud going on, and it has to stop. It has to stop somewhere. I would be their worst nightmare. They're trying to make an agenda right now pass through for the city planning for the future of the city right now. It's a huge land grab. It's redistricting. It's taking house. It's barring you from rebuilding if your town is burned down. It's LA 2.0. A lot of our houses are close together. I'm telling you right now, do you think that this city would not burn this motherfucker down and take your house when your property's worth millions of dollars? Of course they would. It's the perfect crime. And we saw them do this in California. We saw them do this in Hawaii. It's their MO. We are completely wrecked as a city. We are so wrecked that they literally have outside candidates from Democratic parties fraudulently writing themselves down on our ballot to overthrow our sovereignty in our city by getting on city council to manipulate the voters, to raise the taxes, to do all the horrible things I just said. It's not even a conspiracy. They're doing it in live time. The city of Everett didn't catch them. The Everett Herald didn't catch him. It was Linwood who caught them. And now, for the first time ever, running for candidacy in the seat of Everett, they act completely dumb. Dumb. They act like they're completely dumbfounded that this happened. After you sign an affidavit swearing that you lived in the city, they tell you all the campaign rules before you go and sign up to run for office. They have the audacity to email me a letter telling me I have to sign it and send it in by the 10th. So what? That's another amendment to the requirement to get on office. And what happens if I don't do that? What happens if I didn't see that email? And let's say I do get through and I do get voted in. Were they going to say sorry you didn't go? You didn't go by this administrative process, even though you met all the campaign qualifications, because this is some random qualification we just put on you. And by the way, we mail ballots out in your fucking district where your name isn't even on it, but some reason Sam's name's on it. Are you kidding me right now? That's the kind of shit that's going on. So, I mean, look, I've already gone longer than I promised to go. I promised I would make short videos, but I mean, you just can't make this up. You can't make up the level of corruption that the left is willing to go to. And you know what? You could call it left, right. You can call it good, bad. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like Switzerland in the middle. Um, you you have so many people in the middle that just don't care, and I guess maybe that's me. I don't care. I don't care right. I don't care left. What I do care is good and bad, and even for an intellectual line of thought, even a common consensus is, even amongst atheists who don't believe in God, can still agree that at the end of the day, when they go and they crunch the numbers and they look at it through all their atheist logic, you're going to come to one conclusion, that there is some form, some kind of creation from somebody who created things to be that the way they are. So ultimately, you can call it what you want. I don't preach or get into religion discussions, but I just my God has a plan, so I'm gonna roll with it. But I mean, I hope people, you gotta vote, man. You gotta get out there. You gotta vote. You gotta let your voice be heard, because these people are bad. They're bad. They're horrible people. They are horrible people. They are sold your soul to the devil, run of the muck, just completely godless. They they don't even want to. They don't even want to say it. They got pictures of them with like completely, I don't know. It's all political BS. I'm not gonna. I have tons of friends of different races, religions, and creeds and whatever, but I've never sat there and was like, you know what? I need diversity, guys. Let's take a pic for this shit. Like I'm not gonna do that. So I mean, I don't know. It's to me, it's wild. It's crazy. Campaigning's crazy. If anybody wants to do it, I mean, it's a good thing to do to get on your bucket list. Um, but at the end of the day, I have my website, takebackyourtown.com. I've I've, I've been I've been slowly, working on my house and renovating it. And one of the things I've always wanted to do, just because I think it would be a fun thing to do, is start off with a local podcast or a um, talking show that dives into the certain issues and stuff that have to do with our town specifically. And it's fun. The irony is that there's so much stuff over the years that I've learned and garnered, that it's not just our town. The same wild, crazy shit you hear about in other towns applies to us so much. It's just wild. And you can touch on many different things, but Everett is very unique. It's a very great place. And here's the thing. Here's some controversy. You guys want controversy? I'll give you controversy right now. So here's my clip. Okay. I'm Bill Wheeler. I am running for District 1. And Fauci, he should be fucking prosecuted. And I don't care if he has immunity from our prior president, Joe Biden. Your immunity is federal. This is state. Everett, you need to get your shit together and prosecute. Snohomish County, where the hell are you at? There you go. So I'll cut that clip. I'll make that a separate thing. But look, that's the truth. That's the truth. Because it's already came out, all the vaccine injuries. Fauci lied, people died. It happened. And people need to get over it. And if you got the vaccine and you're injured, I'm sorry that happened to you. Um, I made videos since day one telling people not to do it. I tell people not to do it because the minute I heard that they were going to mandate on the military, and this is it's getting a little serious right now. So when they mandated it that the vaccine was supposed to take place, my immediate concern was because from a personal perspective, when I was deployed to Afghanistan, our our flight, as they call it in the Air Force, our flight of security forces members, which were like military police. So our flight got the anthrax vaccine, and a lot of people in that flight ended up getting a bad dose of anthrax vaccine, not just the first time, but when you deploy to your actual combat zone, they'll usually give you another dose of the anthrax vaccine. And these things are supposed to be refrigerated doses. They're supposed to be controlled because they're all different strains of anthrax. So, long story short, they gave people a bad dose of anthrax. You had people going blind. One girl lost her vision. Another person, I believe she lost some function of one of her organs. I can't remember. It was so long ago. One guy actually went crazy. He went just completely nuts in the head. We had to tackle him in the barracks and hold him down, and he actually went into a psych ward at Walter E. Hall. It was a very sad thing. I had a good friend whose wife was just pregnant, was about to have a baby, completely lost all of his vision, could barely talk, couldn't even see his newborn. He ended up getting medically discharged because of it. So Congress, shortly after that, passed that you cannot make the military take vaccines. It can't be a mandated thing. It has to be voluntary. And when they said that they were going to mandate the COVID vaccine or kick people out, it was a huge wake up call. Alarm bells were going off. And I just felt deep down inside, because I've learned over the years I really got to start, trusting my gut more. And that's a challenge, because you have to let the Holy Spirit talk to you as a Christian, and you can call it gut, you can call it intuition, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what I believe. You have to sit back, and even I have to constantly remind myself when things happen not to jump into it, and sit back and meditate and pray on it and let God provide you the answers, and let Him just guide you. And I felt that I was compelled to just tell people that this was a harmful thing, and please don't do it. And then I started looking into all the white papers and the literature and stuff like that. And at the time, I was done with my MBA, because the University of the Military was paid for by the VA loan, and I started reading the white papers and stuff. And the reason why I got my doctorates was because during that time frame, I found it fascinating, because I got introduced to reading white papers. I was reading research. I was reading where this stuff was coming from, and my doctorates was actually spawned a natural response to me thirsting for more and more information, and I clamored to it. And that's why I got my doctrines in business, because I decided to go the route of a researcher. I believe in sound research. I believe in diligencies of doing it. Somebody mocked me. Oh, it sounds like your stuff is written by Chat GPT and blah blah blah. Well, look, I talk candid. I talk candid because this is how I talk. I work 14 hours a day. I work long shifts. I work, come home, work some more, and then I sit back. I have a beer or two. I'm tired. I've been up since 4 a.m. It's like 8 o'clock right now. And I'm gonna go do some more work, because I'm just a worker. Um, my mind's never asleep. My mind is just constantly. It's on fire. Um, I feel like I can't even. And you know, it's taking a combat related issue, a PTSD, where my mind just feels like it rapidly fires all the time. It's like it just my mind is loud. It's loud and it's obnoxious and it never lets me sleep. And I've learned over the years that the best thing I can do is I just embrace it. I embrace the chaos. And I found in embracing the chaos, you know, I managed to work full time. I basically did two jobs and went to school for my doctorates. I even doubled up on my doctorate classes, um, just to stay occupied because you know I was always looking for ways to kill time, and it's thousands and thousands of hours of literature. I'm constantly writing articles and things that like capture my attention, and you'll even notice in my articles and my doctoral thesis and stuff, I'm kind of like you know going all over the place, and I go over all the place because my mind is all over the place, and it's just because there's so many fascinating things and there's so much to life. And there's so many things that I think people should desire to learn and should try to know. And um, I find myself very much enamored and just in love with the concept of just having this knowledge there, you know, and you know, so when people say, oh, you know, "Dude, it sounds like ChatGPT wrote your thing, blah blah," you know, thank you, thank you for taking note that I have proper punctuation and actually no, I write horribly. I'm a horrible writer. I'm horrible at punctuation. You know, like most people, theirs are a bit hard for me. Was you know just weird grammatical things, but I do have a good vernacular, and I do. Um, I you have to know your audience and who you're talking to. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and insult people by using big words. I don't, I just wasn't from that life. I don't know that lifestyle. So, you know, you can insult me all you want. Yeah, okay. Well, it's a whole slew of things now. I mean, with AI, if you don't use ChatGPT nowadays, you're behind the learning curve, bud. I don't believe in letting chat write everything and all your thoughts and your expressions and your thoughts and where you should go. My campaign in the ballot, that stuff that was written in there, that was all me. That wasn't Chat GPT. Um, so I use Microsoft Word and I use a program called, you know, I'll look it up right now. So I use Microsoft Word, and on Word, there is a program called Grammarly. I use Grammarly. So I use Grammarly. I write something, and then I'll reread it, and then you can change your tone. You could be like, okay, I sound too aggressive, or I want to sound more aggressive, and how would I improve that? And they give you suggestions and stuff, but you can't go by that because then your thing sounds funny. And you could do like you could throw after you write something, throw it in Grok, or you could do chat, or you could be like, okay, look through this document. I want you to, um, am I accurate? Am I making stuff up? Is there scholarly written things that could back up what I say? But then you have to read those and validate them, right? You can't just go and trust these AR computers because they're meant to serve us. They're meant to tell us what we want. So you have to go through after that and make sure that what they tell you was actually a read the paper, because if you don't do that, you're going to be lying to people left and right. You have to double check. And then you can take your paper after you're done, you go through it, you write it, you make sure that it's, you know, all the grammars are incorrect and that it flows right and it makes sense and it's conveying the story you wanted to convey. And then you check all your citations. And then there's another Harvard program, Harvard Recite. Recite takes your document and it double checks it and makes sure that your actual citations are from the correct sources. And if that sometimes if you cite something and you think it's from one source, it was really from another, then you would have to go and make sure that you cite the appropriate resource. So there's all sorts of layers that you go through when writing these things. And and then when it goes to like papers and stuff, you have to do peer review, where not only do you do all that, but then you have another person who peer reviews it. And then they come back and they tell you, okay, this sounds good, but the essence of our article is this. So we need you to change this, that, or, we would like you to go in this direction. And then you would have to make changes and annotate the changes. And then you have to go through and submit it all over again. So that's the scholarly process when writing things. But no, everything in the campaign handbook, I wrote that. I wrote at the end, it's time to take back your town, because I believe, I invested in the website. I've had it for many, many years. I've had the Take Back Your Town website. I've had for many years. And, you know, when you're writing a campaign speech at the end of it, that's a good hook. It's time to take back your town, because you're trying to bring people, wrap them around to go back to the Take Back Your Town uh, website. So, um, and that's just clever writing. So I mean, I don't know why you think that I would be incapable of writing such things. I have to write things all day. So I mean, it's not like I don't practice. I constantly write things out. I have to make company wide memos all the time for safety, health, and facility issues. So that is one of the responsibilities that I have been given at the current organization that I work at. So there's things that we all have to do, and that's just the way it is. But my words are mine, so it kind of sucks when people think that you're just ripping stuff off a chat. But no, it's definitely all me. I definitely have an axe to grind with the city. I definitely want accountability, and I could get into um, all those other issues, or why I dislike them. But when there's nothing worse than a person scorned, right? And I was already going at the city in 2010 when my dad went missing, and it had a lot to do with not you look into the history of my father. A lot of people see in the Everett Herald and stuff, all they talk about was his espresso stands. His espresso stands were nothing compared to what he was actually doing. And there's a whole story that they don't want you to know. And there's whole levels upon levels of fraud within our city, um, involving my father. And, for me to be honest about this position, I want people to know that I saw that growing up. I saw the things that my dad would do. I saw him pay off people that worked with the city to keep them open. I saw him, slip $100 bills to city inspectors to kind of look the other way, or to leave them alone about certain things. And to keep his shop open, he would give people money with the city, or be like, "Well, here's $100. Can you come back tomorrow?" kind of thing. And growing up, I thought that was normal, and it's not, because and my problem started coming when my dad went missing. And I was like, I'm going to step in and run these, because he's a missing person. You don't know if he's coming back, what happened. He might have gotten sick somewhere, maybe he's in a hospital, you do not know. And he was not the kind of person that would take lightly to somebody messing with his stuff if he was just missing and he came back. So I was always like, well, everything's got to be exactly the way it is when he gets back, because if you touch it, that's it. You're done. And I had a natural fear of my father, like most well-respected sons have a natural fear of their father. I thought is I think that's a normal thing, and it boils down to respect. And I was trying to be the respectful um, person, and keeping what he built running and grounded and there in theory. And it burnt me. It burnt me bad, and I got into it with the city because I wasn't okay with the fraud. I wasn't okay with police officers in the city um, soliciting employees. I was kicking undercover officers off my property because they were soliciting my employees. And I was kicking police officers. I got threatened by an undercover cop who pulled a gun on me because he was trying to pimp out one of my employees. Um, so, I mean, yeah, you want to talk about Everett's dirty little secrets here. I mean, we could put all that on the line. And I'm glad to talk about it. And I'm glad to talk about it because this is the kind of stuff that I want to expose. Because I know that, we're paying for them to shut down these drug homes and they're keeping them open. Well, they're keeping it open because they're in on it. They want DOC people on DOC because a lot of the officers they own halfway homes. Do you think they want people off DOC? No, they want them to stay on DOC because that's free money for them. They pack some of these little 3-bedroom homes full of 15 people, and they're getting $500-600 a month per person. And during COVID, they didn't even have to check on them. It was just free money for them. So, and if you don't live in their house, they just violate you all the time. So this is the kind of stuff going on in our city. I mean, you want the inside baseball. Let's talk inside baseball. You know, that's the kind of corruption that's going on. I got a drug house right behind me. I've reported it a dozen times. They don't care. Still there, still open. They're still selling drugs, and they do it because the city's in on it. They have to be. At this point, they have to be. It's known. Every drug addict that walks up and down the street, I see him at some point in time going to this house. It is a flop house. It's there, and they don't do nothing. They've known about it. So and they spend all this money having these undercover investigations, soliciting these employees. And then what they do is they'll solicit an employee, they'll break the law, and then they charge the owner, like they did with me. So, and then they lie and they destroy your evidence. That's what they did with me because it's best evidence of the state. So they lied, they committed the crime, then they destroyed evidence proving that there was no crime and it was them. And then, so what do they do? Well, they had video of them committing crime. My video of them committing a crime. Do you think they were ever going to let that go to trial? No. No, they weren't. Because my video had me on there telling my employees flat out, if you do anything illegal, you're fired. And anybody that knows my espresso stands, I had some bikini stands, but I also had family friendly stands. And I always made sure that my windows were unobstructed. I wanted people to see in there because I wanted people to know that they could feel safe. It was for the safety of my employee. And it was safety to me because I didn't want people accusing me of running a business letting women do whatever they wanted because they always had to be up to par because people saw them in the public light. And I told every one of them that they were in the public. They're a public figure. And unlike some of these sleazy stands out there, mine were more themed. Mine were more theatrical. My dad didn't do that. My dad wasn't into the theme theatrical thing. I was into more of the theme theatrical thing. I would be fine with somebody wearing a nice tank top and shorts and going in there and working and stuff. And, I'm trying to be as realistic about this whole thing as possible with people. But at the end of the day, I mean, people want to get coffee by somebody that's cute and who's nice to them. And, good coffee, somebody that's nice, friendly, dresses appropriately. It was themed. It was no more different than going to a beach bar and getting a coconut drink. And that was the kind of atmosphere that I was trying to provide by people visiting my locations, both family friendly and the bikini espresso ones, where they mostly wore like actual bikinis. I mean, but the ones that are here now, I don't agree with. I don't agree with them. Um, I I just well, for starters, it doesn't matter if I agree with them because the minute that they push the 20 something dollar an hour uh, minimum, the espresso industry died. So every one of these stands right now that you see, they're all on borrowed time. They've all got outstanding loans, and they're probably going to tap it out and file for bankruptcy, or they may linger on for a few years and sell their stand, and some retired person might want to give their hand at it. And if you're retired and you're thinking about buying an espresso stand, a good friend of mine was thinking about it, and I'm going to tell you right now, please do not do it. Do not do it. It's a horrible decision. It's a horrible business decision. Yes, back in the day, it was profitable, and I'll tell you, just don't do it. You'll lose everything. This is your warning. You'll lose everything. Um, you're probably going to pay way too much. They're going to sell you on some pipe dream. It's just not worth it. Don't do it. So that's your warning. Don't do it. So that's all I'm going to talk about today. I've kind of rambled on. I went off in 100 different directions. There's some people that told me they like these videos and like listening to them. So I really do appreciate it. I appreciate your votes. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening at this stuff. I hope you make an informed decision. I hope this helps you make an informed decision. If you spent the last 40 minutes listening to this, I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I'm in District 1. And if you're not in District 1, and later I make these videos, regardless of what district you're in, because Take Back Your Town is going to be a nationwide broadcast. Um, yeah, my name is Bill Wheeler. I I am running currently for District 1, but many of the things that I talk about are happening in a lot of towns across the United States. And ironically enough, a lot of people in different towns have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm talking about espresso stands. That's like when I go to other states and I start talking about espresso stands, I'm like, what the hell is that? So um, that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to make more videos. Like I said, I promised, as the election goes on, I'll make more videos. So I've been slacking. I say every time I've been slacking, but I work all day and I'm tired. And sometimes I don't want to go and make a video when I'm all hyped up about something. I don't want people to see me all irritated, about people telling me how I, you know, didn't go to school and trying to make me out to be a liar about it. And I'm not. It's all verifiable. So, anyways, thank you for watching this. God bless. Vote for me if you can. If not, thank you for listening. Yeah, my name is Bill Wheeler. I'm in District 1 in Everett, Washington. Thank you very much for listening. God bless.